Hi there, boys and girls. Tonight's lesson is 7.6, Part 2, Rename Fractions and Mixed Numbers. Tonight's essential question is how can you rename fractions greater than 1 as mixed numbers? Go ahead and turn in your Go Math book back to Lesson 7.6 and we will work on Part 2. To make your fraction as a mixed number, what you can do is you can take 31/6 and make it into unit fractions. However, that might take a long time for you to write it in your Go Math book, so go ahead and look at this right here. Now, here's what it would look like if I were to do the sum of unit fractions to make 31/6. That's a lot of writing for you to do, so I just want to show you what I'm going to do. Remember, to make one whole, you would need to have 6/6 because my denominator is a 6. So let's go ahead and find out to make a whole. I'm going to group 6/6. 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, and 6/6. Now I can keep doing that until I get groups of 6/6. So I'm going to do another group of 6/6. And I can still do another group of 6/6. And I can still do a group of 6/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can still do one more group of 6/6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll include this one here. So let's count up our holes that we have. 1 hole, 2 hole, 3 holes, 4 holes, 5 holes, and then I have 1 6 left over. So let's check. 5 holes, 1 6. Now I can recheck this by multiplying it. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31. So that does work out. Now, another way you can do it, if you don't want to draw out why you have 31/6 and to count up all of your groups of wholes, you can just take 31/6 and divide 31 divided by 6. So how many groups will fit into 31? 5 groups will fit into 31 and 1 will be left over. So it'll be 5 holes and 1 6. And this shows 5 holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes and 1 6 left over. So for number 10, it says 20/10. We want to change that to a mixed number. Okay, so here's what 20/10 would look like as a sum of unit fractions. You would have 20 groups of 1/10. So if we want to see how 20/10 would look like as a whole number or a mixed number, you can just make wholes. And remember, to make a whole, you have to have 10/10. So I'm going to group 10/10. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, 9/10, 10/10 equals 1 whole. And I have another 10/10 right here equals another whole. Therefore, 20/10 is the same thing as 2 wholes, and there's no fraction left over or no remainder. So another way that you can do this is to look at this improper fraction and ask yourself, how many times can 20 be divided by 10? And you could say 20 divided by 10 is 2 wholes. Okay, for number 12, it's called 13/6 is my improper fraction, or my fraction greater than 1 whole. And what this means is I have 13 groups of 1/6. 13/6. So here they all are. There's 13 of them. Now I want to make it a mixed number. So remember our step number 1? You want to group a whole, and my whole would be 6, 6, because my denominator is a 6. So let's go ahead and group 6 groups of 1/6. 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, and let's include this one down here. That shows 6, 6, which equals 1 whole, and let's see if we can make another group of 6, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks to me like I have 1 whole, 2 wholes, and 1 6 left over. 2 wholes and 1 6. And that's just like saying 13 divided by 6 equals 2 wholes, and there would be 1 left over. And 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13. All right, for number 13, it's called 23/10. So I have 23 groups of tenths because my sum of unit fractions would be 1/10 plus 1/10 plus 1/10, and you're going to do that 23 times. Now I want to see how can I change this to a mixed number, so we have to create our wholes again. So my whole would be 10/10. So I need to group 10/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10/10. Let's double check and make sure I counted correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Absolutely. That's 10/10, so that equals 1 whole. So now let's try to create another whole by counting up 10/10 again. I'm going to start down here in the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let me double check to make sure I counted 10/10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10/10. All right, so now I don't think I have enough right here to make 10/10, again to make another whole. Therefore I have 1 whole, 2 wholes, and it looks like I have with 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. It looks like I have 2 wholes and 3/10. Let's check it. 10 times 2 is 20, plus 3 is 23/10. There it is. Or 23 divided by 10 would be 2 groups, and then you would have 3 left over. So for number 14, we need to create a sum of unit fractions to show 19/5. So I will have to add 1/5 19 times. Here you go. So what I want you to do is look at my model I have here. I have 19 groups of 1/5 because I added 1/5 19 times. So I want you to quickly pause the video, and I want you to visualize by grouping 1/5 into groups of wholes. So look right here at your denominator. 1 whole would be 5/5. And I want you to write down on your paper what you think the answer would be. Go ahead and press pause now. Okay, for this one, you should have seen that you have to create a whole to be 5/5. So we need to group 5 of these 1/5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, 5/5. And I cannot create 5/5 down here. Therefore, my mixed number should be 1 whole, 2 wholes, 3 wholes, and 4/5. And I can check it. 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4 more is 19, or 19 divided by 5. 5 goes into 19, 3 whole times, and there would be 4 left over as the remainder. Okay, so for number 15, it says 11/3. Therefore, I want to make my unit fractions as 1/3, and I'm going to do 11 of them. So here's what it would look like. So here, as you can see, I have 11 groups of 1/3 because my sum of unit fractions would be 1/3 11 times. Now remember, to make a whole, my whole has to be made as 3/3 to equal 1 whole. So I'm going to go ahead and group 3/3. There's 1 whole, there's one hole, and here's one hole. So as you can see, we have one hole, two holes, three holes, and I have 2/3 left over right up here. So 11/3 is the same thing as 3 holes and 2/3. So for number 16, I want you to do this one all by yourself. Go ahead and pause the video and find room in your Go Math book to work out how would you create 9 halves to show a mixed number. Pay attention to your denominator so you know what your sum of unit fractions have to look like and how many would you have to make. Go ahead and press pause now. Okay, boys and girls, for number 16, you should have done 9 halves by making 9 groups, or a sum of unit fractions as halves, 9 different times. So it would look like this. So this is what it looks like. I have 1/2 9 times because it's my sum of unit fractions. Now, remember, to make one whole, you have to group 2 halves. So I can make one whole by grouping a half plus a half is one whole, another half plus a half is a second whole, another half plus a half is a third whole, and a half plus a half is a fourth whole. So I have 4 wholes with 1/2 right here left over. So there is your mixed number. Alright, so your homework questions are on the back side of your Go Math book now. It'll be on page 144. Number 1 says, which of the following is equivalent to 16/3? Go ahead and find room and create your sum of unit fractions and do your groups so you can show what 16/3 would look like as a mixed number. For number 2, Stacy filled her 1/2 cup measuring cup 7 times to have enough flour for a cake recipe. How much flour does the cake recipe call for? Don't forget to rate yourself either as a novice level 1, apprentice level 2, practitioner level 3, or an expert level 4. And here are your 2 homework questions on the top again. And please take the time and do questions 3, 4, 5, and 6 on page 144 as well. We'll check those in class tomorrow, and I believe a Berkeley Buck might be given for the correct answers. So please make sure that you show your work and know that you did them correctly. See you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye-bye.